Hello, everyone. Just getting lined up to make sure everything's working. There we go. Perfect. Awesome. I can hear your voice and away we go. Okay. Oh, frickers. Hello, everybody. What a crazy last couple of days. Whee! The intensity of the experiences I'm having right now are insane. Like triggered people, experiences releasing and going deeper in experiences with women, with my family, my kids. Just to list them all, it's like a week's worth of drama and trauma all showing up in a day. And the triggers that are underneath it for me and the energy that's hiding in it. I could just pop and run away screaming sometimes with the past stuff that's coming up, the unresolved trauma of past events and experiences. Just freaking insane. And then people popping around me that want to create drama and then have me participate in it and then tell me I caused it all. Whoa, that's been probably the hardest. So the title of this is going deep to release all that no longer serves. And some people that might be a bit scary. What does going deep mean? Well, going deep to me is diving down into my emotions, my trauma, my fear, my shadow, whatever you want to call it, the stuff that has some charge in my body. And charge in my body means tightness in my chest or a sore spot in my body or some kind of energetic feeling or something that says this isn't right, or there's some misguided belief or understanding or lack of awareness. Most of the times those things are just things that I've accepted in my body and they just sat there for a long time and I never really talked about them. I just thought that was my body being sore or that tightness in my chest was normal, that's just as little as I breathed or whatever you want to call it. But when you start to become aware and start to ask questions of what's going on in your body, why am I tight? Why does this trigger me? Why do I feel angry right now? And the whatever of somebody making a comment or poking back or triggering you with their own trauma, you start to realize that there's actually underlying things that maybe have been layered on 10, 12, maybe relationship things or past with your parents or brothers and sisters or whatever. And it's just sitting in there. It's just sitting in there and it's part of you now. It's like, oh, relationships never work out and all women do this or all men do that or whatever. And you just sit with it and it's like, I got to accept it because the 8 times I tried it, it never worked out. That's part of your shadow. And that was put there a lot of times in our lineage from past experiences, or we created as part of our contract to come into this life to teach us something. And at 51 years old, I've had a ton of lessons. I've had so much stuff come in and been debilitated by it. I know I came here to look at a lot of the collective energies and to resolve them for me. So it's just basically torn money away from me, made it impossible to have loving experiences, relationships, whatever. And a lot of people would say that was me. And as I look deeper and deeper inside, I'm starting to see this agenda of other things to try and veil me or cover me with a tarp or whatever to say, to get me to give up. because things aren't working out. This isn't good. This isn't whatever. And that's all fine. But they don't serve me anymore. They were given all those things that were holding me back and made me believe this, and all this relationship trauma, drama, escalator shit, all the stuff that's built into this 3D reality, I'm now starting to see through. And honestly, I wouldn't have wanted relationships that were based on that. I wanted relationships that were based from an open heart, from innocence, purity. And that doesn't exist here in a lot of ways. And I'm having to learn that, and I'm having to pioneer it in some ways. And in my experience, showing up to a woman like that is an unknown quantity. It's something that they don't recognize, and it makes them feel really curious, and it makes them kind of on edge that there's an agenda or there's some wounding or whatever. And I look back at it, and all those times that those things happen, it had another purpose. It kept me from getting deeply engaged with people that thought that was weird or didn't believe in it, or kept me from engaging with people with deep wounds. And it saved me in a lot of ways. And I looked at it in the past as like, holy cow, I failed and all this kind of stuff. But now that I'm looking at it now with a more focus on self-love for me, I'm seeing that those things would have just filled me, and then it would have been codependent and narcissistic, and a big pain would happen. So now I've got this shadow inside of all these things saying I wasn't worthy of relationship, but it was without these key bits of information. And now I've got this key information, and it's going and it's saying, holy shit, you're carrying unconditional love. You're trying to create something that hasn't been here before. Most love on this planet and all the programming that we've been given is around conditions. It's like, oh, I only love you as long as you love me, and as long as you don't have an affair and you don't flirt with somebody else, or whatever the rules are that create these things. But they're the very things that break everything down. It's like, oh, you're looking at somebody else, or you're flirting, or whatever. And then there's all this drama and trauma because everybody's been traumatized and all their love is given to another person. It's not, it's fully conditional. So the shadows that I keep having pop up now are things that were unresolved based on old information and the old programming. And this might scare some people or whatever. What if I told you that part of ascension is you're going to have to give up all your anger and all your frustration and all your victimhood and all these things that you're holding on to say, I'm not worthy, or I can't go forward, or I'm not part of God, or I'm not part of worthiness, or whatever. There's a million things that we're slapped with in this human experience to help us guide us into our lessons and to understand and be aware of new things. And at the same time, we've made them our reality. We've looked in them and said, holy frick, I was raped, so now I'm a rape victim for the rest of my life, or I was abandoned and now I'm abandoned for the rest of my life. I'm whatever. But these were the very pressures, like the steamrollers that were given to us to kind of push us into a new awareness of the why. Why did this happen? No, it didn't come to give me a victim or whatever. It came to squash me until the point I had enough awareness to choose me instead, to push me and give me dark nights of the soul and all these things so that I could be free. And we'll look at it and say, geez, my life has been hell and everything's bad and whatever. No, it's not. It's not. Cancel, cancel, cancel. No, you've had all this help, all these things you agreed before you came, of women that were coming into your life, men were coming into your life, teachers, bosses that were assholes, freaking exes that were codependent and narcissistic, and all these things. And all these people came to teach you. But we got all this stuff saying, "Ugh, this is ugly, this is bad, I'm not having a great experience. Look at all these bad people on this planet," or whatever. No, you just welcomed a bunch of teachers in. The teacher for one person could be their best friend, but the teacher for the next person, like, you can be best. Let's explain this better. You could be best friends with a person and then have to tell them something very directly and uncomfortably to love ourselves. But that person will take it and then it'll trigger all their trauma. And all of a sudden they're like, I hate you, F off. I don't want any part of your life anymore. Blah, 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 blah. Because you came really close to home. And now all of a sudden you're this victimizer because you made them look at this thing, but you couldn't stand to be with them anymore. You couldn't stand to look at them hurting themselves anymore. So you made a statement and said, that's not right. I disagree with this. What about if you looked at it this way? What about if you looked at it that way? And that person may hate you for a year. That person may hate you for 10 years. That person may come back afterwards and say, holy fuck, you clarified this for me. You made me go to a place that I didn't want to go, but finally I looked there and frick, it helped. My dad was telling me last week when I went to visit him, he says he laid off guys. He was big in business. He laid off guys and they hated him. And they were like almost so angry. They wanted to punch him on the day of their laying off. And then some of them would come back a year, 2 years, 5 years later and say, frick, you kicked me into thinking and seeing what was really going on in my life. And that layoff and that worst drop in my life ended up being the biggest gift. So how many things are you holding on to that were meant to teach you that you can't stand? I will never talk to that person again. They are awful. They're a asshole, blah, 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 blah. You put all the words there. And then if you hold on to that, if you hold on to the anger and you hold on to the resentment and all this kind of stuff, do you find your arms ever ache? Do you find that your shoulders are aching and you're sore and it feels like your arms are being pulled off sometimes as you're trying to make your ascension journey? Guess what? That's you holding on to all that shit that was never meant to be held on to. It's just residue of a lesson, residue of an old movie that got you to a certain place. But the more you hate them, the more you hold on to them, the more you say, I'm a victim or other things. It's the very thing that's holding you back. It's keeping your vibration low. If you still harbor hate, anger, frustration, whatever to a person, you're holding on for dear life to a vibration that's not going to be compatible with 5D. Hating, anger, frustration, wanting to kill a person, whatever, no matter what they did to you, I'm going to tell you right now, and this is a hard and freaking bitter truth, you're going to have to come to terms with that before you're going to be able to step above and get your vibration high enough to move forward. And the universe is going to be pushing you. That person's going to trigger you. There's going to be some events from other people. There's going to be every help of God and the angels and your guides, whatever, that's going to help push you to release that hate, to release those things that no longer serve you, that are from old dense vibrations that were there to slow you down, to keep you in tow, to teach you something that you more than likely already learned. So be open to forgiveness. Be open to letting it go. Be open to trying different. Those people came into your life as a gift. Even the really ugly ones and the whatever. And I've got people in my life that I thought were absolute and total assholes that given 5-10 years afterwards, they're friends again. That's how this game works. And if you don't like the fact of the game, that one hurt me as well. You came here with a designed experience, expecting some miracles to happen. And until you've worked through all the shit that belongs as part of it, guess what? Nothing's going to get better. Nothing's going to change until you've done the work that goes with it. And some of those things are pretty gritty, shitty, ugly. And I'm not saying go sit with your accuser or victimizer or whatever and forgive them in person. No, just deal with it inside of yourself. And the rest of itself will clean it all up. It's not put yourself in harm or this person's going to do it again or whatever. Just deal with it. Deal with it in here. Deal with it in here. And you're going to find out you're going to be free. Because that thing that you're still holding on to, that you define yourself as, that's bad or heavy or a victim or abused or whatever the word is a sticky note on your head. And it basically obscures your whole face and your whole reality. And it tells you that you're just that all the time. Do you want to be that anymore? Or are you ready for something better? I'm better. I'm amazing. I don't let people like that do that to me anymore. I set boundaries. I don't propagate the abuse. I don't whatever. And you know you've done the work, because if you can see it and you can see that there was a reason for that got you somewhere better, thank it. Forgive the person involved and move on, because anything else is holding on like an anchor to the tree stump on the side of the raging river that's trying to take you to something better and to what you now deserve and what is no longer that. But if you still identify with that, you're stuck. You put your feet in concrete. So how many of those things are you doing? How deep do you have to go? Anything that makes you feel bad or keeps you feeling a victim or making you feel like you don't deserve, let those things go. Go deep. Shine into the darkest dark inside of you, and anything that makes you feel bad or uncomfortable or scared needs to be looked at. Light needs to be shone on it, and you will be free. And this doesn't have to be hard. It sounds terrifying, doesn't it? No, make it a course of every day. I expect better every day. Every day is getting better and better for me. I say it. And guess what? All this stuff lines up. All these experiences that are intense, but are me choosing me and doing it from self-love. And you're going to see some ugly shit come back at you, because there's not a lot of people that are willing to do this work right now. And they're going to project on you and tell you you're wrong, and the way you dealt with this was ugly and disgusting. And I had an experience of this last night, and I was so disappointed in the person that chose to do it. It's like they did some shitty communication, projecting a whole bunch of shit at me. And then it was my fault. I just kind of said, I don't agree with this. This makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't feel safe when you make statements like this. And then it's like, what's wrong with you? And you're testing and questioning everything that I've ever done. It's like, fuck you. I don't need that. I'm no longer in this drama triangle. I didn't even have to say that to their face. It's just like, step away. And then, I don't want to be your friend anymore, even though we deeply connected or whatever. That's their shit. I reflected what I saw in the clearest possible way, and then they read everything and their brain scrambled it all up, and then a whole bunch more vomit came out, no matter how, I love enlightening and all this kind of stuff. But it was like, you haven't seen me. And that makes me sad. And I was so innocent and pure, and the thing that brought it up was some shame inside of them. But it came back, rather than like, I changed my mind, it came back as here's some statements about myself. I wasn't honest with myself. I wasn't whatever. And it's like, how do I read it? Something like that. It was ugly, but I'm breathing. I'm taking the trigger energy that was projected at me and transmuting it, waiting 24 hours before any response is going to happen. And I'll respond with the best love that I can. But do I need to service that? Do I need to keep digging down in all the shit that's coming out of them? I got my gift. I got my gift to say, fuck, I'm loving and direct with a lot of people, and they're not okay with that. And the directness is always from a loving space. But the minute their little inner child or whatever drama's going on comes in, and it just has to propagate, this is another man that's hurting me. This is whatever. I don't know what the story is underneath. And I participated in it far too long. Letting go, moving on. Got the message loud and clear that I've given too much to people that aren't willing to give back to me, and then move on. And it made me feel free. So much stuff came out of my body today, so much relaxation, so much calmness, because I don't have to please women. I don't have to be the fixer of their things. I don't have to anchor their trauma and deal with shit they're not willing to directly talk to me about. But I've done it over and over and over again. And there's an endless stream of people that want to deal with their shit by handing it to somebody else and traumatizing them. No fucking more. So that's what getting rid of this stuff is. It's deep. It's intense. It triggers the fuck out of you. And then all of a sudden it's like, why did I hold on to that? Where was that from? What is this doing inside my body? And I was free. I was free. Yeah, they may still be angry. They may still have that thing that's going on that was tried to project or whatever. Can I change it? No. And is it my responsibility to go in there and clean up this mess that they created of their own? No. All I can do is reflect back what I saw, the lack of communication, all these kind of things. And then I'm just free. It's like, holy shit, I don't have to deal with this trauma. I don't have to take my half of their shit. You're going to find out that this will set you free. So go deep. Holding on to it is keeping you held back. And every part of God right now is trying to push you, need you, send these things at you for you to now see into a new depth and move forward and love yourself. And whatever everybody else is doing and is their own thing. And to try and tie your happiness to them being happy, or tie that you owe them in some way, or whatever, is just killing you. Your guides will get you through it. And the minute you're holding on to anybody else or any outcome or a house or a kids or being married or having your dream lover or whatever, you lose, because you don't get to control that. It shows up. It's already designed. It's coming once you're free. But if you try and control it and say, this is the way it got to work, you're going to be dragged headlong all day long until your arms pull off. And I felt it. I spent most of the last year with my forearms from my elbow all the way to the tips of my fingers hanging on, just screaming like somebody was tearing them off, because I was holding on for dear life. Now I go with the flow. Wow, where did that come from? Oh, okay, move on. I still get triggered. But when I get triggered, I know there's gold there, and frickin' I dive deep and I go look at my side. And trust me, the thing that'll push you into that is not something always that you have to clean up for the other person. It's for you first. And if you clean up your piece and speak with love, maybe their side will clear up, but it may not be meant to, because there's a lot of people that really need some deep, dark lessons right now in their trauma and in letting go. Not my job, not your job. So I love you all. Such intense times right now. I'd say I'm crazy. It's insanity, the shit that comes out, the people that are driving funny, the world that's lopsided. But I see it pushing. It's just pushing and gently needing us to letting go. And everybody's getting their experience at the same time. Some of them are intense. Some of them are having accidents. Some of them are crashing into people, whatever. And I see it, but I just weave around it, move around. Don't enforce your right of way and all this kind of stuff, because everybody's looking for some trauma to clean up their experience, to try and get ascended as quickly as possible. And it's the dark stuff, the stuff that pisses you off. Keep looking inside and saying, why is this here? Why is this causing this? Why am I angry? And you're going to be saved. Miracles, hours of your life, so much. It just passes through you quickly, where it might have taken years before, but now you get the miracle of quick movement. So I love you all. Take this to heart. Go dig in. It's going to help you immensely. And if you've got any questions, put some notes in, direct message me, whatever you got. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Have a very good night. Oh, stay strong, survive. See you soon.